That's fine.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. Good morning. We are so excited about the new expert lesson series presented by the Phantom Regiment that is now available at Marching Arts Education. I'm here to talk to two educators. One is going to be joining in just a minute, but the first one I have here is Jason Harvey. Jason, how are you?
Hi there. Good morning, Tim. So great to be here. Great to be with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
How are you?
I'm getting a message that we're not streaming on Facebook.
Okay.
I guess we'll just keep going.
Okay.
So anyway, because I know we're on YouTube, so we can always put it on Facebook later.
That's
so
it.
Jason, you're one of the educators. We have Tyann Payne who's going to be with us in just a minute. She's going to be joining the broadcast in just a couple minutes.
Right.
But Jason, you're one of the educators in the series. So you're teaching the trombone, is that right?
That is correct. That's right.
So tell me about yourself. Where do you teach and what do you do?
Well, currently I'm at Mitchell Intermediate, and that's a 5th and 6th grade campus that goes to McCullough Junior High and the Woodlands High School. And prior to that, I was at the Woodlands for a few years. That was my first classroom teaching job, was right at the Woodlands High School. So, right into the fire. But it was an amazing experience. And when I had the opportunity to work with the beginners to get them started from the ground up, I thought that was a great way to help the program. And so now this is my 4th year here. And I've been in the Woodlands area now since 2006. And before that, from 2006 to about 2014, I was a full-time private instructor for the Woodlands and McCullough and this school also. So I've just been kind of entrenched in this area for a while.
That's fantastic. So the Expert Lesson Series, brought to us by Phantom Regiment, of course, a brand that we all know and love and can trust. They've created a series of video lessons to help beginning musicians. Yeah. So the great thing about this is that if you have a student who's a beginning musician, whether you're a parent or you're a music teacher, this is extra help for them at home where they can turn on these videos. There's a new video every week that will keep coming out, and they get extra instruction, extra songs to play, videos of an expert like Jason showing them exactly how to do it.
Right.
So Jason, you have been working with beginning students all these years. You're a private lesson teacher, trombone guru. Why would you tell somebody, like, how is this helpful to a beginning student to have this extra help?
Well, I mean, on one hand, it is, it's portable, so they can learn anywhere. They could be learning, I tell my students all the time, we get better, of course, by playing our instrument, but we also get better by sometimes not playing our instrument and listening. And sometimes we have to process, and sometimes we need reflection time. But sometimes we just need to hear the information more than once, and we need to hear it. I mean, the way our brains work is, brains and muscles all kind of, work differently. And brain can understand things, but sometimes brain needs to hear it a few times before it can process, and then it can send the right signals down, And especially if you're seeing someone do something on a video and you're able to watch it over and over again, obviously you're getting more of that reinforcement.
That's the thing I love about this is that the videos are always there, so they can repeat a lesson over and over and over. They can always refer back to it. Right. Actually, our second expert is here with us now, so I'm going to bring her in.
Hello,
Tyann Payne. Hey, Tyann, how are you?
I am super fun. Really glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. So Tyann is the clarinet guru of the Phantom Regiment Expert Lesson Series. Tyann, you were sort of one of the first ones to jump in on this project. Am I right?
Yes. And, I went to college with Stan. And so we've been, longtime friends. And he presented this with me. And I'm thinking, this is something I'd really like to do. It's something different, and we need to find these ways to reach the kids because they're still reachable. And then, for now and then afterwards. So I heard Jason talking a little bit about the brain. And that is exactly right. The first thing we do is teach them how to think, and how their brains are processing information. And I can tell my students, I tell them, I can tell what you're thinking when you're playing, and I can tell exactly what you're thinking. And then I say, but I can't when you're not playing, so don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. And so, we really can tell by looking at them. And I know Jason feels the same way. We could have the sound off and be listening and watching them, and we can tell exactly what they sound like because of how we know they're thinking, and then also some physical things. So the thinking part is the thinking part is the carrot that keeps you wanting more, because your brain's supposed to stay ahead of what you physically can do. And when your brain stays ahead, that is the carrot that drags you through it.
Right.
Not drags you through it, it just brings you to it, right to it.
No, I love that. And that's so interesting that you, as as a master educator, you can tell what they're thinking. Can you give me an example about that? I mean, like, what do you mean? The way their expression is, or whether moving, like, what do you mean?
It is, I don't, let's see, let me see if I can find a way to tell that. Well, first of all, I know my students and I know what they need to think about. And so in the world of mindfulness, mindful means that you only think about one thing. And so what you have to do as a student, and that's what we guide them to, is to guide them to that one thing that will make all of the things fall into place. And so once you've got something, I'll say, how long do you have to think about that? And they go, oh, forever. I said, no, until you don't have to think about that anymore. So I know my students, and I know if it's air that they need. I know if it's the correct finger motion that they need. I know if they're thinking about the energy, not just the way the embouchure looks, but the way the embouchure feels. Then I know my students, and I can say, you're thinking about it. You did. And they most of the times they will agree. And
so Jason, you feel that way when you're on the podium and you're in front of your students, or you're working with a private student, you can tell what's going on in their head?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I try to teach them, it's the way that dealing with 5th and 6th graders, I use a lot of analogies, and the way I tell them, like, for every different activity you have kind of a crane game, one of those like claw games, the arcade, and its job is to grab, idea and send it down, or grab an action and send it down the chute. and what practice does, for a lot of people, what they have for every little activity, their crane game is filled with, a Buzz Lightyear and a Tweety Bird and a whole bunch of different random stuff. But what practice does is it starts to take out those random things and starts to deliberately put in the same prize, so that all you have eventually is one prize to grab. And you train your crane game to always grab something, and it always grabs the same thing.
And you win every time that way. You win.
And once you're there, that looks different. A player who does that looks different than a player who doesn't. Mm-hmm. So, and I tell them, you aren't going to just be able to go from random toys to one toy. You might want all Buzz Lightyears in there. And so maybe after a couple of days, you're going to have things that, like, you might have a Tweety Bird with the Buzz Lightyear head, and you might have a Buzz Lightyear with a Woody head or something. But then after another week, you're going to have a bunch of Buzz Lightyears in there, but one might have a broken wing, and one might his leg might be snapped off, and then after another week, you're going to have a bunch of Buzz Lightyears. And that's the idea. And so we can always tell what level they're at. Basically.
That is a really interesting analogy. And everybody that's watching this right now, see, this is what I love about this, is we've been working on this expert lesson series for a long time now. It's finally out here and available for everybody, but you can tell they know what they're doing. I mean, they're really smart. They've done this a long time. They have a lot of experience, and they're bringing that to your student, or if you're a music teacher, they're bringing that to all your students, because you can pay for one price and all your students get access to the videos. So Tyann, you were an educator for so very many years.
Yes.
An educator, obviously, but why is it helpful to have videos to practice along with at home?
Because, we can tell students, you want to, go home and learn this, But, unless they have the procedure to follow, or they have information at home, they could write it down, they can do all kinds of things. But I tell you what, to be able to take the teacher home with you, and to be able to, I don't remember what they said about this, that, and the other. There it is. And, I just think that this is such a program that everyone can use, and it doesn't matter, if you want to use it for your band program, you want to use it for single individual, adults that would like to learn how to play the instrument, and they may zip through the videos a little bit faster than some, but I'm telling you, this is something that I'm very proud of. And I'm proud of Jason. I'm proud to be with Jason. I've known Jason for a long time. I think maybe since he was in the 10th grade or something like that.
Well, I know that I started teaching for you when I was a junior in college.
That's right.
I started teaching for you as your trombone teacher, and still as an undergrad. And it was a great environment. One of the environments I'm proud to say I was a part of. Absolutely, I had a lot of fun, brainstorming with you and talking about.
Oh, I know. Oh, I do remember. Yes.
And
well, I can tell you guys, also as a band director who's standing in front of all these instruments, I got to tell you, there's some of them that I'm not so good at. So I'm thinking if I was a music teacher trying to teach all these, like I might turn on the trombone videos and like make sure I know what I'm doing. Like Jason, does that make sense to you? Like educators can use this too.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I can't wait to watch Tyann's clarinet videos because I took, those methods courses 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago. And while I took them with some really amazing people like Eddie Green and some amazing people, I mean, it's great to have, constant refreshers by the people who helped design. I mean, Tyann is one of the people who helped design the clarinet method for the University of Houston, that is kind of a leader in music education. So, I mean, that's, it's pretty amazing stuff.
That's very, very kind of you, and I appreciate that. And,
well, so Tyann, you're doing the clarinets. So all the clarinet students will see you. You're going to guide them through it. You show them everything from here's how you put it together, here's how you make it sound, here's how you breathe, all that stuff. So give me an example of something that you are including in this first, say, 12 weeks of lessons that's very clarinet specific that you think would be helpful to a clarinet student if they're watching this video.
Absolutely. And here it is. The first thing is that you don't teach the results. You teach the steps that lead to the results. For example, a clarinet embouchure. People will say, okay, put your bottom lip over your teeth. That is exactly what I do not say, because that is teaching a result. The lip going over the bottom teeth is an energy thing. And so, I mean, I just make it as simple as possible. I'll just tell the students, just let your mouth fall open. And then I'll place the clarinet against their lip. And then I say, and I'll move it into their mouth a little bit. And I'll say, bring your top teeth down and then seal towards the center. And all of a sudden, there it is. All embouchures are built towards the middle. All embouchures have, flute is different than every single thing on the face of the earth, except maybe low notes on the bass trombone, possibly. But it still is energy that goes to the center of the lips, everything. And so, when I teach breathing exercises to an entire class, I just say, how you breathe in, and when you breathe out, just breathe through the center of your lips. And you'll find that if you use that, you'll be able to, people that don't have very good embouchures, they'll start to learn how to use those muscles. And you can fix any embouchure by doing breathing exercises just like that. So everything I do, I try to make it a step that leads to the result rather than teaching the result. And so back to the clarinet embouchure, once I've got it sealed, breathe through your nose, and then just air freely goes through the clarinet. Feel the freeness of it. And then that will speed up little by little. And then all of a sudden a tone will happen, and it happens accidentally. And I'll say, like, when brass players put their lips together the right way and they go, a tone happens. Why should a clarinet player or a reed player have to feel like they're blowing through a brick to make a tone the very first time? It should be easy. That's why I use soft reeds at the beginning. And then as their muscles build, you'll go to a little bit harder reeds and so on and so forth. So, I mean, everything needs to happen as I say, as it occurs in nature.
I love that. I mean, clearly, I would want my clarinet students to hear this stuff from Tyann Payne because she knows what she's doing. And this again, every night at home, they have these videos they can watch. They can play along with Tyann. They can hear her play. Then they can play along with her. Do I sound like her? Same thing for trombones, right? Jason, give me an example of something that's trombone-y specific at the beginning here.
Well, I mean, we tie. Well, I guess at the very, very beginning, it's about how to create sound. I mean, the cool thing about playing a brass instrument is that you are the instrument. That makes the brass player a little bit different from all the others. We're a lot closer to a vocalist than other instruments. The machinery that we're holding is not really the thing creating the sound. And so we have to, develop an instrument on our face, and if it's not constructed correctly, it doesn't behave, certain way. It behaves a certain way. And so we try to get pretty close to something that's functional for everyone. And while everyone's face is slightly different, generally the way that an embouchure works for years, 100 years, has all been agreed upon. And so we try to keep things really just, again, very natural. I mean, the idea here is that a starting trombone embouchure is about that. I mean, just about that. And what we do is we try to keep this as close to the same as this when we breathe in and out consciously. And then as we add things on, nothing changes. So it's a constant scaffolding or layering process. where the new layer doesn't change what came before it, you know? And then just staying conscious of that is the most difficult part of this whole thing. Nothing we do is complicated. It just takes awareness. It takes a capacity for layering, multitasking. But the idea with practice is that you do each foundation enough times so that you aren't having to really think about it so much. You're able to it goes into kind of the not quite autopilot zone, but it goes into that I can do it with one hand tied behind my back kind of zone, and then I can add on another layer. So,
I love that. So this is courses available for beginning musicians. You can sign up as a parent, you can sign up your students. So they have this extra work, this extra help at home. They can watch the videos over and over and over. They're getting this expert instruction, sort of like a little private lesson with their teacher every evening if they want to. I think they're more likely to practice. Tyann, do you agree with me on that? Like if they have these videos and this reinforcement and they know I can play along with Tyann tonight, I think if they're a beginning musician, they're more likely to play.
Absolutely. And my saying is practice makes permanence. And so, I mean, just because you go home and spend some time on your instrument, that doesn't mean that you are developing, good skills that'll make it so that you can play anything, honestly. I mean, I tell them I can play anything. Well, it has to be, some of it has to be at a pretty slow tempo, but I could play anything. And so, this is the way, and I'm the one to do it. I'm the one to help you do that. And to have that at home, and then practice, and perfect practice makes perfect. So, and the other thing is learning how to practice without mistakes, because when we perform, what are we afraid of? Messing up. So if you give them skills on how to do the steps and how to practice without mistakes, you're fearless. You take the fear out of it.
Right. Like Jason, that's part of what you're having to teach them is not only how to play, but also how to practice their instrument, because they don't know that as a beginner.
And that's, man, I can tell you, I'm real big on this right now because I want to define practice in a way that is measurable, because practice is this nebulous thing. It's like practice is just this, go practice, and what does that mean? And so getting it kind of narrowed down to where we understand what that is my big mission right now. And I'm working on that every day on a big whiteboard. I get to workshop this every day with my 5th and 6th graders, which is really cool. And what I've come down to, that's why I use that crane game analogy. And I talk about deliberately doing that, because that's the difference between practice and just like actual practice. And what I've kind of gotten into philosophy 101 here and talked about this the way we talk about truth sometimes, right? Where the capital T is like a fact, undeniable, objectable thing, right? Which right now, gosh, and then lowercase t truth is a belief, okay? And so if you have, we look at practice that same way. When a doctor or a lawyer practices medicine or law, they're not just going out there and just doing it and just see what happens. They're using their final skills, they're using their final information, and they're applying that to a real life situation. And so I want to use, and that when you look up the definition of practice in the dictionary, it says nothing about the problem solving. It says nothing about the part where you're bad. It just talks about doing the finished product. So I want to define practice as the part where you're getting it right on purpose. So I say that practice has to have 3 things, and it has to have these 3 things. It can't miss one of these 3 things. If it's missing one, it's not practice. You have to be able to replicate success on purpose. If you can't replicate it, it's not practice. If it's not on purpose, it wasn't practice. And if it wasn't successful, well, it wasn't practice. See, and if you're missing any one of those things, it's not there. You're not practicing. And only then are you getting into proper capital P, practice. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to show up the next day. That's the stuff that's going to make you better. That's what you want, right? We want to end a practice session feeling better about ourselves, knowing that we're better about something. And who wants to practice if you don't feel that way? I wouldn't. And most kids, they just go around and kind of like make noises on their instruments and they go, I practice for 30 minutes. But, it doesn't benefit them the next day. So I teach repetitions here. We don't do minutes or anything like that. We do, you're logging your repetitions. You're keeping a tally. And you're going to see it on the end of the handout for the trombone course. On the end of every week of handout, there's a place where I list everything we did, and there's a place for you to keep your tallies. Because I want you to keep your tallies. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, so that's the thing is there's not only videos, but there's also handouts, there's written information, there's play along with your instructor videos. There's all kinds of different things that are here to help the student stay engaged and learn as they're going through.
Right.
So Tyann, final thoughts from you about why this is valuable and why you'd recommend it to a parent or a band director.
I think it's first valuable because I think that music changes lives. And it's fun. You get an instrument, it's exciting about it, it's fun. But unless you are good at it, it's really fun when you're good at it. And I'll ask an older student, I said, did you have any idea that you would be doing this at this stage? And they said, absolutely not. They just blindly think it's cool, and so they sign up for it. And their friends sign up for it, and they do that. But the reason why they keep going is because they're good at it. That's the number one reason, is because they're successful in it. And so teaching success like this, I think it'll help band directors. I'm excited to listen to Jason talk, go listen to his videos too, because I like that practice tick thing without minutes. And I'm just super excited to bring this to so many people.
You can find it, everybody, at marchingartseducation.com. Right there on the main page, just click on the Phantom Regiment graphic, or put Phantom Regiment, or put Expert Learys, or put Tyann, however you want to find it. You put that into the search bar, it's going to pop right up. You'll find all the information. There's a monthly subscription for a parent to sign up so they can have constant information on and on, or a band director can sign up all their students for 1 year for one price. Jason, final thoughts from you. I know we need to end this conversation. You got to start teaching again. Right. What would you like to say as we close?
I say, as an educator, I need supplements like this for my home kids. My kids that are remote right now, and who knows where we're about to head. If we're all about to head in a shutdown again, like, I need this stuff, because my remote kids are, with as much effort as I'm putting into it, are here compared to my in-class kids who are here. And I'm putting as much effort into that as I can. It just isn't the same. And I need more of that. I need more of that supplemental material, more of that stuff to go home that has all of that, professionally done with, explaining the fingering chart, not just here's a fingering chart, that kind of thing, like having it all kind of spelled out. Great for educators too, for that, not just for students, but.
Yeah, that's a great point. And like, every student can use this, but you're right, especially someone who's trying to learn at home right now. Especially if they're a beginning musician, they need this extra help. Band directors can sign up all their students, or parents can sign up. If you are watching this and you know somebody that could use this, please let them know that this is here. We're getting the word out this week as we launch this. Like I said, there are 6 weeks right now. Every week now after this, there are going to be new videos and lessons that are be appearing. 12 weeks for this semester, and then 12 weeks again starting in January, released each week. It's amazing. Go to marchingartseducation.com. and search there. Tyann and Jason, thank you guys for having this conversation, and thanks for all your hard work on the course.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a lot of fun to get all this organized. So
I can tell you guys, it's really professionally done. They're doing a great job. And look at the quality of these educators. These guys are examples of how these are really our experts. So thank you guys. Really appreciate having the conversation today.
All right. Thanks, Tim, for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.